Danielle here, back with another video. I know it's kind of crazy to see me on my main channel because I never use my main, I always use my backup, but I felt that this video was something that I felt should go on my main because I felt like it was a story time that I really wanted to have people hear. So I'm in my room right now. I wanted just to be in my room, have a chill vibe when doing this. Don't want my little breakout going on. It's the time of the month, so yeah, we're gonna get into it. I get a new bed frame. I swear I looked over and I thought that was a bug. But anyways, I'm getting a new bed frame, so I'm very excited. It comes in a few days. But I'm gonna start off by saying that this is kind of like a lot to take in to hear. If you've ever went through something like this, I'm so sorry, and I feel like there's not enough light on situations like this, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. So let's get into the story times. There's a couple different ones, but today I'm going to be talking about some things that very much traumatized me. And not only did they happen just for no reason, they mostly happen because of social media. You guys know I do social media. It is very much always been kind of drama surrounding my name. There's just always been some type of drama, whether it's about all different topics about me. One of the main ones was a lot about my home, my mom, things like that, basically saying that I was being abused or being forced or whatever it was. And I never really talked about it because it was just something that I never talked about. And a lot of people were always like, I can't wait for her to get a certain age so she can share the truth or whatever. And here I am. I'm here to share the truth. It might not be the truth that you're expecting, and it might not be the one that you want to hear, but it's my truth, and it's coming from me right here. And this is genuinely what really happened. And it was terrifying. It was literally terrifying. When I first started social media, I was very, very young. I was super, super young. And if you guys know, I don't know if you know this, but when I first started doing Musical.lys, I did not have the best life. My parents had just split up. My mom did not have really any money. She was working 2 or 3 jobs at the time, and we were still struggling. We were staying in a really low end hotel for a little bit, and then we moved into a 1-bedroom apartment. And even the 1-bedroom apartment was so much money for us at the time. So I had a really, really hard life for that year. Obviously before that, when my parents were together, it wasn't we were the richest people in the world, but I felt we were pretty good. There was never really any issues besides just a really toxic household of me growing up in, which is something that people also don't shine enough light on, is toxic households, because they really do affect you throughout your whole life. And it was really hard, and if you guys ever want me to talk about that, I'm willing to do a video about that too. So if you guys ever need advice or just someone to talk to, I'm willing to do that, so just let me know. But when I first started, it was never ever my intentions to ever be where I am today. And I say that being so thankful of where I am today. It's genuinely crazy that the little girl 6 years ago posting videos of her lip singing to Justin Bieber or whatever song was big at the time got me. Here I am today, an entrepreneur, owning my own businesses, being able to travel the world, having this amazing support system is crazy to me. And I wouldn't change it for the world, but 6 years ago, when it first started, it wasn't something that I ever could have imagined happening, and it wasn't something that I really would ever even want to happen. I was really shy. I did pageants throughout my life just because I don't really know why I ever did them. I wanted to do them because I wanted to be a beauty queen or whatever. I was a cheerleader. I was really into sports. There was just a lot of things I was really focused on. And I never really cared for social media, but although social media was kind of starting to have its growing points, and it was kind of when the Don't Judge Me challenge was happening, and that was when I got on Musical.ly because I really wanted to do it because all my friends were doing it. And automatically, I started growing a lot of followers, just right off the bat, just growing followers. Obviously nothing like I have now, but for me back then, a couple hundred followers was a crazy deal. And even 100 followers now to me is still a crazy deal. Like when I grow followers, I'm like, I don't know why these people are following me, but thank you. It was really crazy. And I started growing a lot. And I came to a point where I started having companies reach out to me. One of the companies I remember was like Color Switch. They always wanted me to do like ads for their like app. And I even started having like record labels reach out, asking me to do their song on Musical.ly, like lip sync to it. There was just a lot of really good opportunities. And like I said, I did not have money. I was really going through it. My whole family was. And so I also didn't have a phone. I was doing this on my mother's phone while she was at work. Okay, I don't even know if she really like knew that I had Musical.ly. Like, we didn't have the money for each person in our house to have a phone. Like, we all shared a phone. As I started getting these opportunities, that was kind of when my mom got involved because, you know, I'm this really young girl, like, growing on social media, like, getting promos from people, and I had no clue what was going on. Like, I was so young that I genuinely had no clue what was going on. So my mom, she had to kind of get involved. She was still working, but she still had to kind of get involved because these people are like sending this money to me and I'm like so young and I don't know what is going on. So my mom had to get involved. It had to be done. Obviously, you know, it was like crazy for her. It was really exciting for her because she had been working the 3 jobs and we were just really going through it. So to get any ounce of extra money was really helpful to us. And of course she was, you know, very excited about it. And I was excited about it too. You know, for me, my first thought wasn't I'm gonna go spend this on me or I'm gonna go spend this at the mall, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, like I'm gonna give this to my mom for rent. Like we really need it. And that was always my thought in the back of my head because I knew we needed it. And as time went on, I kept getting bigger and bigger. And it was kind of the same thing. My mom ended up having to quit her jobs because it was getting really busy. And I started getting flown out to places like California, even some other places too. I think like one time I got flown out to like Dallas and just a lot of different places for all these like really cool opportunities that I was making a lot of money for at such a young age. And my mom kind of decided that, you know, I needed a manager in it, which I did. I did need a manager. And she kind of like took on that role. And I was completely okay with it because I was so young. I didn't want any like random manager person kind of controlling everything for me. So I was okay with it being my mom. So my mom was kind of like working for me. And it came to a point where we ended up completely moving to California because I was always going back from Florida and California. And when we moved to California, that was when a lot of shit went downhill. My mom met all of the other social media moms. And they all were very, very similar. They had kind of been doing this for a lot longer than me, which is crazy because when I look back, I feel like I like got on it pretty soon. Like I feel like I'm like one of like the OG like musers, but no, there was people from YouNow, there was people from Vine, like there was a lot of things before me. And there was a lot of social media moms who were just terrible. And I remember just like being so young and seeing this and kind of thinking that it was okay. Like I was just like, well, this is just the industry, like this is just how it is, blah, blah, blah. And I remember like hearing conversations like with my mom and like other moms, and they would be like, you're gonna let her do that? Like, no, like you need to do this and that. And so I remember kind of seeing my mom change over time. And she kind of got into like this like stage mom type of thing. And I think that it was because she was getting like so manipulated by these other moms. And she did definitely change. And, you know, she kind of, you know, lost sight of some of the things that did matter in our relationship. And it kind of became such a work relationship. And it definitely really messed up our relationship. Like, we were always fighting. There was just a lot of shit. And I'm sure you guys have seen it. I mean, it's all been, like, for some reason, we always trusted the wrong people. And they always exposed it to the internet. And it was just really, really bad. But, yeah. So she kind of just went through this like phase where she thought that was how she had to be because she was just seeing all these other moms be like this. And everyone goes through phases, everyone makes mistakes, so I didn't hold it against her, but it was never to an extent of abuse or like forcing. It was just, she just kind of lost sight of like us being family. It was more like she was just my manager. But I look back at it and I'm like, you know what? I lost sight of myself too because it was like a whole new world. Like I didn't even know what the hell was going on. And it was just crazy. I'm telling you guys, it was just crazy. But now it started, you know, I kind of took the time and I talked to her and I was like, you know, I just feel like you're not yourself anymore. Like, I don't know what's going on. And this is kind of when I started getting older and I kind of saw through the whole like social media mom thing. And I told her, I was like, this is not you. Like, this is not you at all. Like, you need to get out of this. And it took her a while to like get back to herself, but she got back to it. And what really got me was the fact that almost every single mom that, you know, was involved out there was doing the same shit, but almost 20 times worse. There was times where I would be at events and I would see kids getting hit for not doing their whatever it was that they were supposed to be doing. It was really, really sad. And that was never the case for me. I was never getting like abused for it or anything, but the rumors came with the videos that were getting exposed. And so a lot of people just kind of ended up assuming that, and it didn't help that my address was leaked on social media. And that really, really sucked because then with that came Child Protective Services. And that was one of the most traumatizing things I had ever went through. Because it wasn't like calls about what was really going on. Like what was really going on was me and my mom were just not having that good of a relationship because we were so focused on work that we weren't focused on a real mother-daughter duo. We were like, work, work, work. Like she was my manager. It just was not like a mother-daughter work thing anymore. It was just manager and daughter, you know? And so they came, and I remember the first time I was so young. And I started getting questions asking me if I was being sexually touched by my mom. They were saying things to me that I didn't even know what it was. It was genuinely one of the scariest days of my life because I was so young, and I have a police officer, and I remember just this lady like dressed in a really nice like outfit and with a notebook. They made me be completely alone in my room, and they were asking me questions, and I had no clue what the questions meant. Now I do now. It was a lot of questions about, you know, they were saying very inappropriate things like, have you ever been touched here, blah, blah, blah. And I remember being so uncomfortable and just, you know, in my head, I'm like this little girl and I see a police officer in front of me. I'm like, okay, well, like, I don't know what's going on. And so, you know, like, I'm being honest. I'm telling them everything. And none of the things that they were asking me were happening. And so after that, you know, it was really scary. And it started kind of messing with me because I was like, am I doing something wrong? Like, why are these police officers coming to my house? And that was kind of when my mom was like, okay, like, we need to stop worrying about social media and we need to like get our family back together, because that was really, really scary. And not only did they question me, they had to question my whole family. So that was kind of when we really like took the time and we kind of like pulled back away from the whole mom managing me, and I went and I got a manager and all of that. And that was the worst mistake ever because the manager ended up screwing me over, taking all my money, making me basically go broke because they literally took all my money. And this happened more than once because I was so against having my mom as my manager because I didn't want to ruin our relationship again and make it such a toxic relationship that I was willing to like get my money stolen. And it didn't help either. When I had these managers, I think there was a total of 10 times that I had these, you know, police officers and CPS come to my house. I remember there was a time where I was home alone. This is maybe 3-4 years ago, so it's not too long ago. I was a little bit older now, you know, I had been through a lot of cases, and I remember my house, the FBI showed up I open the door because the door was locked, and I see like 10 FBI people out there with like guns. And I'm like, I'm scared as hell. I'm like, what is going on? And they're like, are you home alone? And I'm like, well, yeah, like my uncle just went to the store. Like he literally went to the gas station for 2 seconds. And I don't even know where my mom was. I think she was out with one of her friends. They were at dinner or something. And I was home with my uncle, and he was like, hey, I'm gonna run to the gas station. I was like, okay. Like not thinking anything of it. It's 5 minutes from the house. And I open the door, and it's the FBI saying that they got a call that someone was being held hostage in the house and was getting like, they said a lot of things, but I'm not gonna share. It was very, very traumatizing. And I was like, well, I'm the only one home right now, and there's no one else in the house. And they were like, okay, they still had to like search the house and, you know, go through every room. And me, I'm sitting there just like, I'm not allowed to get up and move because, you know, they're trying to search the house. And so it was things like that were so traumatizing for me, all because just one rumor saying that I was getting abused or whatever it was. And that was never the case. And it was every other week. There was someone coming to the house and they were asking all these questions. And at such a young age, I was having to deal with police in my life. And every single time it would get cleared because, you know, they would come to our house, they would find nothing wrong. And people would always be like, oh, there's, you know, all this shit going on at her house. But we had people investigating us constantly and they never found anything wrong because there genuinely wasn't anything wrong. Me and my mom were going through a toxic relationship, and we had people around that we should have never trusted who videotaped it and leaked it, which was a terrible thing to do. One of the worst ones that really, really sticks with me, like till this day, is, it like gives me like the chills talking about it, is right after my abortion, I had to get questioned by an FBI worker and CPS. I know they're called like it's called a couple different things, but they came to my house, and because my address was leaked, people had called and said that I was forced to get it by my mom. And the thing was I had hid it from my mom. I didn't really want her to know. It was something that I wasn't really wanting any of my family members to know until I was ready. And I ended up telling my mom, and then later on it, you know, came out to the internet. Someone leaked it, which was the worst day of my life. But shortly after, I'm getting questioned about it by police officers, something that was completely my business that no one should have ever known about. And people are calling and making these fake allegations, basically saying that I was forced to get it. And I was like, I hate saying this, but they were basically saying that I was like taken advantage of and all of this stuff. And it was really scary. And I'm sitting there so heartbroken about like the whole world finding out about my secret. And I'm sitting here getting interrogated by a police officer, well, an FBI, I don't even know, something, and this like old lady who's like a CPS worker, and they're like interrogating me, basically telling me that I'm a liar because that's what they have to do to get it out of you. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm telling you the truth. This was my decision, and I don't even know why I have to answer this to you. And I can't say no because I'm sitting here being questioned by freaking like the government. And it was so scary. Until this day, I still have flashbacks about it because it just blew my mind that they were just allowed to do that. And it really blew my mind that at such a young age, I was being questioned these such terrible, terrible things. And so me and my mom, like that really, really brought us together, I feel like, because it really made us stronger because we were always going through all this shit. And it just really, I know I said this a lot, but it traumatized the hell out of me. And it really, really scared me. And it just kind of made me feel like my whole kind of like teenage years that I was doing something wrong because I didn't understand why these people were just harassing me. And I would say a total of 10 times I was always being questioned. And they never found anything wrong, but they couldn't just leave me alone because if there was something going on, they would need to know. And I get it, like they got to do their job, but it was like to an extent, I just wanted people to stop. And I don't know how many times I went on social media and I said, please just stop, like leave me alone, just like let me and my mom be. And no one would ever stop. It kept going. It kept going. And it never came to an end. Everyone was so quick to judge my family and to judge my mom, and, told everyone that kind of my mom was like this terrible person and was like abusing me and doing all this crazy shit that she wasn't doing. But really, the people that traumatized me were the people that were trying to save me. They were the ones that did the damage to me. They didn't need to go out there and do all that shit. They didn't need to leak my personal business. They didn't need to go online and make videos about me. They weren't helping me. They were making it worse for me. And that's what people never saw. I know some people saw it, and like some people kind of saw through it. Everyone kind of was so quick to think of it as like a controversial topic, whatever it's called, topic, instead of my own personal being, and was like, you know what, we can make a story out of this. We can make videos about this. We can bring this to TV. Like, they were so quick to see the money that they could get out of it instead of my mental health, my family's mental health, what they put us through for years, for literal years, to find nothing wrong. If there was genuinely something wrong, they would have found it, and they never found it because there wasn't anything wrong. Families have fights and things like that, and it didn't help that I was such a public figure on the internet, and people took it. They would film us when we weren't watching, like our close family friends, and leaked it. And then it was like people just took it and ran with it. And anytime I had a falling out with someone, they were doing that too. And then everyone was like, well, why don't you respond back? Or why don't you, do whatever? And it was like, because I don't have the energy to. I'm already going through so much that no one knew about. I'm already over here being questioned by cops every day, having to go to the police station constantly, because these people were just taking this story and they took it to another level. They couldn't just let, the police and the Child Protective Services handle it. No, they took it to another level and brought it to the internet. And it made it really, really hard for me. And it caused so much damage to my family, to me. And I always sit back, and I remember just like always going on social media and like seeing all these people and like seeing all these pages like Save Danielle Cohn or whatever. And I remember being like, I'm safe, but you guys are the ones making me unsafe, because it was genuinely the people who took that story and ran with it and made my life so hard. They genuinely traumatized me. I was fine. I didn't need to be saved like everyone was saying. I mean, I'm thankful that people cared for me, and I know that there is people that genuinely do need to be saved. And here I was, a perfectly safe girl in a safe household. And the police and, Child Protective Services were spending so much time on me because they were getting all these calls, and they can't say no to the calls because what if something was happening? And so I really hated it, because I was like, there's genuinely kids out there going through things that need this, and it's being wasted on me, a girl that, had money, because, at this time I had money. I was making a lot of money. My family was set. We're eating every day. Like, we're safe. We have a house. Like, we have a beautiful house. Like, everything was fine. And here I am, getting all this attention when there's genuinely kids in this world that needed that attention more. And it just broke my heart. And that's what I told them. And they're like, well, we still gotta come out for you. Like, it doesn't matter. Look, until you're of age, there's nothing we can do. And I get that. So I was like, you know what, I get it. I know you have to do this. But it just blows my mind that the whole internet thought they were saving me, but they were genuinely ruining my life. And they were ruining my teenage years, because I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to do anything. I was scared that if I went out, cops would be after me. Like, it was just so scary. It was really, really scary. And it was some of the most traumatizing things ever. So I wanted to share that, because I've kind of ignored this for the past couple years, because I just didn't want to talk about it. Like, I felt like it was no one's business. And sometimes I still see comments like that, and I hate it when there's people in my comments bragging about it, or, being like, oh, like, we need to, like, take her down, or take her mom down, or, like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you're doing this, you know, out of jealousy, and like you're doing it and you're spreading hate. You want to act like you're spreading all this like love and like savior towards me, but it was never that. It was always from some sort of hate happening. And yeah, the world is crazy. And I have been wanting to share that with you guys for I don't even know how long. But here I am, finally sharing it with you guys, because it felt like, you know, time was like needed to be shared. It just felt like the right time. I felt like I've done really good with my life. I haven't really let those things get to me, and I've, you know, kind of just done me and stayed strong through it all, even though it was hard as hell. But I grew up, and I feel like I've became a really successful young woman, and I've done the best that I could do. And I'm still gonna like push to do the best that I can do. That's my story. And yeah, I just really hope that people can just, from now on, I gave you guys all what you wanted. This is something that you guys have always asked me to talk about. I finally am giving you the answers that you want. It might not be the response you wanted to hear, but it's my truth. And that's all I can give you guys, is my truth. This is my side of the story to my own story. There's a lot of sides to every story, but this story was genuinely mine. And it sucks that everyone took advantage of it and took it as something that they could get views and money off of, and, you know, make it into something acting like they were trying to spread, you know, awareness, when they weren't at all, ever. It was never that. I can tell you that. I know these people's intentions, and it was never that. And I just hope now that you can give my family, you can give me that peace that we deserve, because it's been a really long time fighting for it. And I don't think we'll ever completely get there, because the world is just an evil place. But like I said, here I am, explaining my truth. And that's really all I can do. And, you know, if people choose to believe me, they believe me. If they don't, I really don't care. I just want to live my life. I know the truth, and that's all that matters. But I love you guys, and I love the people who really do support me, and, you know, have kind of supported me throughout all these years, and, you know, have just genuinely cared for me. I really, really appreciate you guys, and I wouldn't be anywhere without you guys. I wouldn't have my companies if it wasn't for you, and you guys know I love my companies with my whole heart, and I do them for you guys. I want to build these companies, you know, to give back to people like you guys that supported me, and I want to make these amazing products for you guys. So I do really love you guys. And if you guys ever need help with mental health, or, you know, getting over things like that, or just toxic family advice, I got you. And for me and my mom, now we have a great relationship. Honestly, I think it's the best it's ever been. Every family goes through bumps, and it didn't help when I was in that environment. My mom was getting manipulated, I was getting manipulated. It was just a terrible environment. But for the past couple years, it's been really good. Especially now, it's been really good. And yeah. But I love you guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It's nice to see you guys on my main account. Haven't been here in a while. I haven't like sat down and talked in a really long time. So happy to do it. But yeah. Bye guys.